can you believe that we are back together after being together for a whole week in Cincinnati? What a deal.
I know, right? We did a couple little mini rack and stacks talking about how we were going to be seeing each other. So we not only got to hang out at the Cincinnati Roll Formers show down there for Shield Wall Media, but we're also going to be seeing each other in Sacramento here soon. So
we are
pretty wacky.
It is, and we're not going to go there yet. I know we're not, but Sacramento. Watch for it, folks. I mean,
it's going to be a crazy one.
It is going to be. I think huge would be the word.
Huge is a word, and I think it's very fitting for what we're going to be doing. But you know what? Before we get ahead of the cart here, why don't we talk about the awesome guest that we have today?
Well, I'll tell you what, he is awesome, and he comes right from the heart of what I'm all about. My wheelhouse. He's an old sales pro like me, not as old as me, because we seldom have anybody as old as me, but but he is an old sales pro and a podcast host, and I don't know. We're just gonna bring on Joe and chat sales for a while. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey Joe, how you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
I could not be better. I mean, I'm up. I've been got 2 exercises in today. Drank a lot of water, a lot of customer touches, and now I get to talk to a fellow sales pro. I'm not sure it could get any better.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here, my friend. I got up at 5 o'clock as well, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, good. So Joe Graham, the host of the 150K consulting podcast. Did I get that right?
Yeah, 150K podcast. Pretty much we just help people get to step 1. If you break 100K, which only 18% of people do, you're in the top, I think, 10%. You get to 150 in top 10% of income in the world, then you can start building the life you love. So it's just 150K podcast.
Got it. So you and obviously you host that, and you're a sales coach. And so tell us about Joe first, because I know you're from Keller, Texas, and originally from Hartford, Michigan, which I have a customer in Hartford, a great customer of mine, so I know the town. But give us a little history of who Joe is, if you don't mind.
Sure. So I grew up in Hartford, which is like a Midwest town, little country town, where you're supposed to go and just, get the job, do the thing, work for one company, marry the girl, and that's it. Well, I was going through life doing things, and the company I worked for, I downsized and cut. So I ended up falling into sales. Like, I didn't even know that I was going to do sales. Like, and I had one job, I had an opportunity, had a family, had to do it. And I started doing sales. I'm like, holy crap, I don't know what to do. I need to figure this out. So I started researching and talking to the right people, and I started getting better. And after 18 years, I'm an overnight success. So it's one of those things.
Love it.
Sales in a bunch of different ways. So like I've done it over the phone sales for oil and gas investments, for heavy equipment, for fiber internet, for a multi-billion-dollar company, which I've won the President's Circle the last 4 years. We'll probably win it again this year. I do sales consulting because people just kept saying, hey, can you help me out with it? I'm like, sure, I can help you out with it. And I realized if I didn't charge them, they wouldn't do any of the work. So I had to start charging them. And then I had the podcast, which is like my give back, where we talk sales, business, health, life, all the things that you need to do, because we know selling is where we make our money, but we had to build ourselves up completely to start, spirit, soul, and body. So that whole gambit. Married, have a beautiful wife, been married 22 years. Love that. Have 3 wonderful kids, and 7 crazy dogs.
7 crazy dogs. Wow.
Okay, I'll tell you a quick story on this. We had
Yes.
we had to come back from Michigan. I think my sister had passed. She had cancer, which was sad this year. But way back, my wife's friend had been given this dog that was pregnant. She didn't know it was pregnant. We have pugs. We like pugs. Well, she had 4 pug puppies. My wife and kids swore up and down we're going to keep 2 and give 2 to the pug rescue because we're in the DFW area, Dallas-Fort Worth. And we get home, and everyone in the house picked a different pug. So
oh no.
4 pug puppies. And then we have Herbert, which is an older pug. Pete, which is a 2-year-old pug we had gotten from rescue. And then we have a black lab. She's the oddball. But yeah, 7.
Wow. So that keeps you slightly busy. And your kids are how old?
21, 18, and 8.
Okay. Whoa. So a little variety there.
Yeah. Well, we thought we were done. We had a surprise baby, which is cool. It was like a surprise. And but yeah, she just turned. I'm sorry, she's 9. She'll be mad she's 8. She just turned 9 a week ago. So
Perfect. Yeah, we don't want to mess that up. Everybody wants to be older until they're older, and then they don't want to be older anymore.
yeah,
So.
well, like I'm 46, so like I keep thinking I'm 20 something.
Yeah. Well, I have a problem is I'm not 46, and don't ask anymore. But I'm accused by my wife from time to time of having a mentality of a 12-year-old, which she's not wrong. But yeah, but that's what it is. I realize sometimes I should start. Well, I don't. I realize I should probably start acting my age, but then I go somewhere on Facebook. I think it was. And we know if it's on Facebook, it's real, right? So
yeah.
When I read somewhere that if you haven't grown up by the time you turn 60, which I am past that, you don't have to. And since it was on Facebook, and I believe everything is there, I'm just there. I am. You get what you get. And besides that, Joe, I'm not smart enough to carry on this. Okay, let me back up. I can carry a professional demeanor in the right business situations, right? But day to day, every day, when I'm podcasting, whether I'm at trade shows, whether if I'm guesting on a podcast, yeah, you're going to get Randy. That's Randy. It'll be the same one you get when I walk into your office someday, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I love that though, because that's the secret. Sales and processes, systems are always systems, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Intro, the close, the talk, all that's there. But the thing that differentiates you is really simply you. You're the secret sauce. So I love that. I want the real Randy. I don't like fake people.
Yes. And so speaking of all that, because I love your concept of the 150K, because, you know, you're all about, which fits our show here of building wins, right? You're all about building wins, and you've hit on the fact that that's kind of a price range of entry to being able to come as you want, do what you want, you do the things you want to do, buy the stuff you want to have. So how does a sales guy or gal that's not there yet, what are they going to get from working with you? And what are your little tidbits that you want to give back? And let's start there with what do you need to go from the just doing okay at sales to, you know, being a star? What's it take?
Well, a lot of it takes time. And it's the thing most people don't like to hear, because the work you do now shows up 3 to 4 months later. I'm really big in the B2B space, not B2C. I can do B2C, but B2B is kind of the game I play. And you have to take time to develop the relationships. You have to take time to make sure that you get to know who your customer is and build that. So when someone works with me, the first thing I ask them is, okay, what are your numbers right now? What are you doing today? And what are the results you're having? Because I want to get into their world and understand where they're at. Once I know that, then I can start customizing a plan and making it to where they can hit metrics that will show up for them getting the results they need down the line. So like in the B2B world, we do cold calling. I'm actually going to be doing the cold calling course, releasing it probably end of October. And the thing with cold calling is it's not always fun or sexy. In fact, a lot of times it's boring, it's hard. But if you make 100 calls a day consistently, that's 500 touches. If you put the emails in with it, now you're building a warm thing. And it might not even be that they pick up the phone, you're just leaving a message. But then all of a sudden you start getting the emails popping back in. Or I get people from 3-4 years ago that will reach out to me now because I reached out to them in the beginning. They weren't ready yet, but I showed up. Because another really quick key that people don't realize is, you stayed in a sales job for more than 2 years, you're the expert, because most sales weasels or salespeople, I call them sales weasels, hey, between jobs. So like if you stay in that same role, time over tension, you're going to become the expert. And then when they reach back out and you're there, they're like, holy crap. So that's the simple thing. In the beginning, basic, simple, and then we just build from there.
Love it. So how long do you typically, I suppose when you sign up with somebody or they sign up with you, I guess I should say, it's the hope would be you'd become a long-term mentor for them over a period of years, right? And they can grow as you can watch them grow. You can grow with them. You can continue to help them on that journey, which has got to be kind of fun. It's got to be a great feeling to help people go from here to realizing, hey, I can do this.
Yeah. And what I do is I give them like my first thing that I normally put them in is a 6-week course where I go over the entire sales process, customized for them. So it's based off of their pain points, their objections, what they're dealing with. Now, that's not cheap because it's going to cost me time to actually get into it. But once I get them in that function, then I meet with them monthly for the next 6 months or a little bit later, depending on how long they wanted to keep me. But in the beginning, I front load a lot of it to make sure they're empowered so that then 3-4 months down the road, we can, see the results come through. And I love it. That's the only reason why I do it. To be honest with you, I don't have to do the sales coaching. Like, I can go out and make sales all day long, make money, break 200,000-300,000. Like, if I just want to go do that, I'm a great sales guy. I know people might say that sounds cocky. No, I've just figured out the process and systems over the last 18 years. I know what I needed to do that. But I love, like, my whole concept of the 150K podcast was to help other dads take their wife to Hawaii, which I just got back from Hawaii for the fourth 3 years, and then go to like Disney with their kids. Now, and maybe you want to go to Bermuda. I don't know. Whatever your dream is, you being able to do that. And then I started actually running into business teams. So now I've shifted to actually training sales teams. So not just one-on-one individuals, but coming in and putting systems and processes in for entrepreneurs, for their businesses, so that they can get predictable income. I leave the superstar alone. They know what they're doing. But, you what I call your average guys that are around quota, maybe a little bit above, they just need some more help to get there. And I go in, I set systems and processes in place so that they become a little bit above more, and they start making more money. The owner has predictable income, and it's like a big win-win because everyone's happy.
Exactly. And I'm sure you find, because I've been doing this sales gig. It's been my life for 4+ decades, and in the same industry. So and I know what you're saying. After time, you become the trusted advisor. You become the expert, even if it's no other reason than you've just been around forever. You must know something, right? Even though in my particular case, like yours, I do know something, but it's an added plus, right? That you just there's a credibility with that long term, which you just hit on, and I thought that was spot on. When there's such a lack of real sales training with guys, right? Most companies, I'm going to guess, and I don't know what percentage, but it's probably very high. They hire sales teams, and they have no training. They have no onboarding for them. It's just, he talks well and he dresses up kind of nice, and you want to be a sales guy, I'll hire you. But and then it's a prescription for disaster for both sides, because the guy or the gal is going to be gone, like you said, in 6 months, because they're not making any money. They're frustrated. The company's going to be frustrated. So there's got to be a better way, which you're bringing to people, to get these folks trained and understand, because every business owner should want to pay huge checks to every one of their salespeople, right?
Yep. Well, and it's getting the right systems and processes in place, because a lot of people that I work with, they think, I need to tell them about my company. I need to tell them about what we do. And they go and they do the blah, blah, blah. My company did this. My company did that, blah, blah. People don't care. What I train you to do is really simple. Randy, I want to find out what your pain point is. When I reach out to you in a cold call, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ask or talk about what your pain is. So if it's like fiber internet, whatever, which is just something easy that I do a lot. I'll be like, hey, did you hear MGM Studios just got hit by a cyber threat? The city of Fort Worth just got hit by that. Is your plan do you have like a plan in place? Because it's normally small to medium-sized businesses that get hit, not the big boys. Like, I didn't pitch what I sold. I pitched a problem they probably were having, and now they're like, oh crap, this guy knows me. I feel seen. I feel heard. And he's not trying to sell me. He's trying to see if there's something he can help me with. And when you can reframe your team to reach out with that little golden nugget, instead of saying, Spectrum is the best company ever to sell you this, or 18 is the best, they don't care. Right. They only care if you can help them. Branding and building, and that's marketing's job. That's not the sales guy's job. We don't need to tell you the story of company XYZ for the past 8 years. Like, I remember back in the day doing the flip charts, and people are looking at one guy. I was working for Home Depot, goes, dude, I just like Home Depot. I don't care. Can I give you my card so we can be done? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. Because when you're young, you don't know. When you first start out, do what they tell you. But
no, and I think you're so spot on, because we're and when you just hit, I love that, because I just talked to somebody just the other day about that. We're not selling products and services, because like you said, I can give you, if you want to sit down today and get the dog and pony on any of the myriad of products that I sell, I can give you the dog and pony as good as anybody in the country. And you're going to go, oh my God, but yeah, like you just said, you just still don't care because all you care is the solution or the outcome to whatever issues that you're having, whatever, like you said, pain point you're having. And I think as salespeople, we we love to talk,
Mhm.
and we love to run our mouths, get diarrhea of the mouth, as we say sometimes, right? But you're so spot on. They don't care. You don't care about my screw and all this stuff that I do with it that makes it better than everybody's, because that's not sexy, and you don't care. All you care about is what can you do today to help me with this problem that I'm having, right?
Yeah. When success is boring, you said a second key there. I want to make sure they caught it. Salespeople have a tendency to talk too much. One of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest things I tell my clients is simply this: if you're talking more than them, you lost. You
Mm-hmm.
talking twice as much as you. You want to ask them open-ended questions about their problems, their need. They can tell you about their business because people like to talk about what they do. Great.
Right.
Your job is not to talk about you at all. Your job is to get them opened up talking so that you can get them a solution, and then you just close the doors of doubt. That's it. Get them down to value versus cost. And if your value is 4 times more than the cost, you win. If it's not, you lose. It's that straightforward.
It is, and you're so spot on again, Joe. Because I love the statement is, if you ask enough open end questions and then shut up, they will tell you exactly how to sell them. Right?
Yep.
You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to, literally almost ask, how do I sell you? Because they're going to tell you, here's exactly what I need, because you asked such good probing questions. That and the biggest key. Now I'll go back to this because it's really important, I think, and you hit it well a couple minutes ago, is to have some empathy, to show this guy, I'm here not to sell you something, because maybe I don't even have anything that works for you. And if it doesn't, that's okay too, right? I'm here to find a solution for some problems you have, but you got to help me and tell me what that problem is. And then we'll sit here and see if we've got a solution or not. And see, when you take that being salesy out of the picture, all of a sudden it becomes easy, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, now you become business partners. Now you're helping them build what they need. And that's how I've always approached sales. I'm not a sales guy. If my business can help you, great. This is what we do. If not, I will refer people to people I know that can help them, even if I get nothing from it. I've had bosses get mad at me about it, but then 2, 3, 4 months down the road, that person will get me a bigger deal than I even had access to because I took care of the customer first. And it's just making sure you connect with them on a human level. And if you can take it to where they feel like you're helping them, like, Phil, seen, heard, we've all heard the sales stuff before.
Mm.
But once you get that connection with them and you're talking like we're talking here, it's phenomenal. And then you're not even selling them. You're just like, hey, this is what I think would work. If it works, great. If not, cool. And all of a sudden you start getting bigger deals and into different rooms. And that sales breath's not there because they're not feeling like you're pushing anything. Sales is helping. Sales is problem solving. Like Ziegler was right. The more people you help, the more money you make. The problem is we see all this stupid training on YouTube about pounding it in and hammering it in and doing it. And I've done that before when I was young and dumb. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have to ask for the sale 95 million times because I can ask for a sale in different ways where it's working together. And here's a thought that just hit my head. And I think you'll think this way too. The sales culture and environment of how sales is done has totally changed from when I started.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. But for some that might be new and young to this, tell me what that means. Because I know, because I was way back in the early day. Believe me, I was one of those, couldn't shut my mouth because I learned all this stuff. And I wanted to make sure, Joe, that you understood how smart I was. And that's why you would buy from me, because I could do this dog and pony show and be so technically advanced. And oh my God, just Randy Smart. But like you just said, I lost them about 13 seconds in because they didn't care. But it took me a long time to figure that out, right? So how do guys and gals figure that out quickly outside of working with Joe Graham to not do that?
Well, there's 2 ways. And the one way is what everyone does. You try the little gimmicks and you get burnt. I'd love to tell you it's not that way, but sometimes you hear someone from like the Grant Cardones of the world or the Jordan Belforts of the world, and some of their strategies and tactics work good, but some of it's just like that old car salesman, pound it in, take your keys, bait and switch. Well, if I can do this, will you do this? I got to run to the manager. And people now that doesn't work. That worked in the 80s. It doesn't really work now. You have to understand there's a human like across from you. And the other thing is knowledge is out there so much now. You can't trick people into this is the only car left. This is the only thing left. They've already researched your probably. They've checked out your company. For you even to get the meeting at this point, they've done some research on you. So it's not that anymore. Now you have to come with an approach of how can I make them understand that what I'm giving them is in their best interest first. Again, bring the value. That's why, like in my head, I pictured in my head all these doors of distraction or doubt that I'm going down the hall and I'm just closing all of them up to get to, like I said before, value versus cost. And then here's a shocker I'm going to say that a lot of salespeople won't say. It's not my job to make or to sell them. It's my job to get them to that point, to make a decision. Is it yes? Is it no? But then the other key on that is if they say no, I want to find out, Randy, is it a no now or a no forever? I mean, is it timing? Is there an issue that right now is not good for you? Is there some more questions you have? Or is it just a no forever? I don't like your product or service. Cool, I can take that. I just want to know.
Right. Well, exactly. And back to what we said a minute ago. If you get them to that point, there's so many times you don't have to put that big hammer on because the next logical, if you walk your way through this whole process, right? The logical last process is, sign here, press hard. There's 3 copies, right? It's like, how do I buy, right? That's the perfect scenario. How do I'm in, Joe, right? I want your widget. What do I do here? How do I have to buy it? Can I buy 3 pallets to start if it's product, or do I need to buy a truck, or what are the options? And then when you start getting that, and you're there, if you keep your calm at that point and see, again, I've seen a lot of young guys get really aggressive at that point when it's not the time, in my opinion. It's like when they start doing those buying talks, like, well, okay, so are there different ways to buy? I mean, is there volume discounts? They've bought. If you just don't walk away from the sale or you don't talk it back, right?
Yep. Well, and what you need to do there is, again, make it about them. Realize at this point, they're raising their hand. You just have to guide them along. So what I try to do, especially for new reps that I found works well, is like, hey, Randy, I just want to make sure that I got everything you wanted. So you want to do A, B, C, D. There's this and that. Did I miss anything in what you were looking for? Cool. This is the price. Do you have any questions? Shut up.
Right.
Especially when you're new. Or, hey, I'm going to send you the proposal because I have to write it up. Is it okay if I give you a call back on Friday at 2:00? I'm going to set an anchor and a point to get them to give me an agreement for a time that I can call them back, but it's a set time. I'm not going to say, hey, Randy, can I call you on Friday? I'm going to be like, Randy, can I call you Friday? Does 10:00 or 2:00 work? Because if you give me a set time, you're more likely to pick up the phone.
Correct. And I think it also, I think that is important, and it also establishes, because people, I think, especially in B2B, which we're both in, people want to deal with somebody across the table as a sales pro, exactly that, a pro, right? Somebody that knows what they're doing, somebody that's in demand, somebody that I want to be doing business with. Well, if I can call anytime next week, whatever's good for you, what are you not doing any business, right? There's that mental part. So I think it's a subconscious, I could call you at 2:00, or I could call you at 10, I could call you at 1:30 or 3:30, which would work best for you, Joe? Because I think, one, you've pinned them down, and like you said, they're more likely to go ahead and take that call. And secondarily, it does indicate, without you ever saying it, is, Joe, I'm a pretty busy guy, and I'm going to try to fit you in, but it gives the message that, this dude's got a lot going on, so that's kind of important too, because I want to deal with somebody that's successful, right?
Yeah, well, because you're trying to keep them as an equal. So I work with a lot of CEOs, CFOs with current roles that I'm doing right now. And what I've learned to do is, if I come in and sound like a sales guy, he or she's going to look at me like, I'm here.
Right.
Go do this for me, do that, blah, blah, blah. But when I talk to them like we're talking here, and I talk more in business speak, and I don't sound like I'm in need of this. Hey, look, I'm just trying to help you. If not, cool, I'll walk away. I'll do a soft takeaway on purpose. I'm like, cool, this is what we're looking to do. This is probably the schedule. Is this going to meet your time or not? Like, I'll just start assuming the close, but talking like a business owner. And then you want to make sure that they don't see you as an employee. You want to make sure that they are 100%, you're on the same page with them, with what they're doing. And then you start to win the game, because when they start joking with you or telling you about their family, or they start telling you other stuff, that means that you got them. You're starting to get into that friendship zone. So, it's interesting because it depends on what area of the country you're calling into too. So just to be like, if you're calling into the Northeast, I'm a lot more direct. I'm a lot more quick. I just picked up my cadence. If I'm talking in the South, I talk slower. If I'm talking with a lady, I don't tell her, I ask her. Why? Because men like to be told, because we're gruff. Ladies like to be asked. So if I'm telling you, like, would this work for you, ma'am? Compared to if I'm telling you, hey, this is what we're going to do.
Right. I like that. Spot on. And you're so right with the parts of the country, because I'm a Midwest guy, born and raised, even though I live really most of my life in Florida and just travel north when I need to.
Yep.
But born and raised in the Midwest, I'm a Midwesterner. But I travel the Northeast too. And you're 100% right. It's much more here's what I got. What are we going to do? Let's make it happen. Thank you very much. And out the door, right? Because that's what they want. They don't want me. They don't even necessarily, the Midwestern guys, they want to talk for about 45 minutes before we even talk about what I'm there for, right? So I give that to them. But it's funny, to that point, when I'm traveling the Midwest, even Western New York, I will schedule longer appointment times in my phone, in my calendar, because I know it's going to take it. I travel up in New England, and I think I could do them about every 12 minutes, right? Because it's like, it's going to be, it's going to be quick, because that's what they want. And I always remind myself when I go there is back off your hokey dokey Midwestern stuff. And just now, you occasionally get a transplant, or you occasionally get the one-off that you just understand right away. Hey, come on in. You want a cup of coffee? So where are you from? Okay, we'll roll right into that mode. But you're 100% right. So it's all about whether you're in sales, speaking to an audience, if you're doing a talk, which is kind of one and the same to some degree. You better know your audience, and you better read them real quickly, right?
Yeah, well, you have to, because your job is to give them the information they need, and you need to understand how they like to be sold. Like, there's a bunch of like sources and stuff, like human design you can check out, personality tests, different stuff, and you got to know who you're talking to. So like, if you're talking to a CEO, CFO, they're more like the New Yorker. They just want the facts. They want it done. If you're talking to like an IT guy or a software type of guy, they want the details. If you're talking to a bookkeeper, they may want like volumes or an engineer, volumes of information. So know your audience, know what they need, and know what their key pain points are. When you get into more complex sales, what the CEO wants probably is different than what the IT guy wants, but you got to mesh them together.
Correct.
So you need to understand your audience, who they are, how to connect with them. And I know we're talking a little bit higher level sales at that point, but it's still the same whether you're selling the, shop owner that's just one person to sell, or you got 10 people in the thing. You got to understand their values, what they want, and who they're looking to become.
Exactly. Thought as you're talking, because I think this is another area that that especially inexperienced sales folks can get into, is you go through this massively incredible best sales pitch. I hate that word, but ever. I mean, you did it all. Yeah, you was brilliant. And then you realize that you're not in the room with the decision maker at all, or equally as bad, one of the decision makers.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you guide any level, but especially maybe younger sales folks, to make sure that you're not wasting that first and ultra important impression making time with people that either they're not going to take it back to the right people, period. They'll take it diluted, or they'll just mess it up completely for you, and you got to start all over again if you get a shot. How do you make sure that without making people mad?
I ask them in different ways. So like, say I'm working with an IT guy on a internet deal or whatever. I'm like, hey, just wanted to find out, are you going to make the decision, or do you have a team that you need to go and talk with? I did that very specifically. I know he has to talk to his boss, but I want him to feel good. So I'm like, do you need to go talk to your team? Because now I've made him feel happier. And
Right.
yeah, no, I need to talk to the CEO or CFO. Cool. Would it be easier for you? Help you? Would it be easier for you if I just met with you and him at the same time? That way I could answer any questions. You don't have to relay it. We can present it together as a team. Now he's become my buddy. Now I'm going to make him look good in front of his boss. And now I've alleviated him having to talk to him, but it also got me access to the boss. Does that always work? No. They may say, no, I can't. He doesn't like it. He just wants to say, cool. So then I would reflect back, say, great. What are his key points? I know as the IT guy, you need this, but is this guy more on financials? Is he on growth? What is his mindset? And I still make them an ally so I can empower them to go talk to the boss. But I've learned that over time because I pitched people, thought I had a deal. Yeah, I am. And sometimes they'll lie to you. Yes, I'm the guy. And then you send them the contract. Oh, I got to go talk to 8 other people.
Right.
Bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And you always love well, I've got a partner in this business that I can't run any. Okay, there we go. We're going to start all over again, right? Because they may have a whole different, and they may be talking to a competitor of mine, and now you're going to have that. We could accomplish that all together in the same time. I like that. I like that theory because you maintain that team effort.
Yep.
It's not Joe, the sales guy. Let's just do this together, and it'll save you some time, some headache, and heartache, and life will be a whole lot better. One thing you just said, you're talking about making sure everybody's in the room. I've sold in home, but larger projects like post-frame buildings and some things like that. But I'm very familiar with that. Not very familiar, but relatively familiar. And I know one of the quote one day close type, in-home sales world, the one-leggers, right? I mean, that's a term you'll know. But it is important, right? Because they might sometimes, depending on the company, be much more aggressive about it. But the point still is the same, is if you're going to go sell a house full of windows or a new metal roof to homeowners, and it's Bill and Mary, I guarantee you, right, 98% of the time you ain't getting a deal if Bill and Mary are not there together, right?
Yeah. Well, you're going to laugh. So in my younger days, I found a way to make them my ally then, because for the company I was with, everyone else was like, you have to have both. I'm like, no, I can just meet with one of you. But I made it to where we would get going and I'm like, hey, Mary, because normally it'd be the wife. Because in-home sales, the wife makes a decision. The man looks like he's trying to be in the house, the woman, 90% decision. So I'd get Mary to be my ally. And I'm like, hey, do you just want to call Bill right now and see? And you can explain to him how Home Depot and we can help you. Again, I would take those calls because the guy that was there before from Window World or whatever company wouldn't do it. They'd leave. I can only do it if you're here. Made him an enemy. So be adaptable. And if you can't get to that person, make them the ally. But I mean, there's a bunch of different little tricks and things we could do. And this is, again, when I was younger, so I was trying some of the tricks. Well, why don't we give them a call? Oh, you want to pray about it? Has God ever told you no? Like some of the stuff you should, when you're young, you don't know anything.
Right, right.
Can we pray together right now? I've seen that happen. I was like, I couldn't do that one. I didn't do that one, but I seen that one. I was like, that's a bridge too far for me. But you figure out, how can I help them more? And then if your company takes one-leggers and everyone else doesn't, make it an asset. Yeah, I can come back next week at 2:00. I'm super busy. But when that happens, I do need Bill to be here. Or will he just be cool with you signing off? Well, he's normally cool with me signing off. You want to just give him a call right now then and see if he thinks this is a good price? We can just put it like you just, again, overcome the objection, but make it about helping them, not, well, that's dumb. Why did you do this?
Exactly. So you've been very kind with your time, and I want to be cognizant of that. But one last question. You and I first met on social media, and you're very active as I am. Talk a minute about using social media as a salesperson to our benefit. I call it a force multiplier. In my world, I feel it's a source multiplier because I'm in front of thousands right now. I mean, literally, while we're recording this, our producer director Wes is already putting this out. We're doing a show that is going to drop in a few. Got some great golden nuggets. Blah blah blah. Right. So it works all the time, night and day, 24/7, 365. And I know you do a lot of it and very, very well. And I love your you're getting ready for the marathon and you and your wife in Hawaii. How important is it for a sales pro to engage in that social media world?
I think it's huge now because it gives you an advantage to your clients, but you have to do it in the right way. You can't just come up and sell.
Right.
In fact, I would say probably for every 10 posts I do, maybe one is about sales with a call of action. The reason is because social media gives them a glimpse into your world. So like I show people when I went to Hawaii, when I go to events, when I'm doing stuff with my family, because, oh wait, now I'm here. Joe's a normal guy. He's going to do cool stuff with his family. But then I'll start doing value posts about cold calling or mindset or different things like that, because it's giving you those touches so that when someone researches you and looks at you, the first thing that pops up is not Joe, the sales guy. It's Joe, the family man. It's Joe, the person that's helping his friends with mindsets. It's Joe, the person that's giving free tips, giving free value away without it being salesy. And then the exposure is just huge. Who knows how many people will see this video now, go to my website, check out my podcast, or when you come on my show, who knows what the exposure you'll get.
Right.
The more times that you can get in front of people, in front of your ideal client with the most authentic you can be, that's you, the better it is. Like I'm going to a networking event tonight, right? The girl said, hey, some of the people are old school, they're going to dress up. And then some people, just wear whatever. I'm like, well, is there a dress code? She goes, no. In fact, your buddy Donnie will probably come in a hat and a t-shirt, but there are some older ones that they're just a little bit there. I'm like, I was thinking about, I could dress up and be fake, or I could be who I am. I'm like, no, I'm going to come 100% authentic. Why? Because if you look at my social, if you look at what I'm doing, that's how I'm showing up. So make sure whatever you're doing is 100% authentic. And I'm not talking about going B2B. If you're in a B2B role and you're going in person for a company, yes, you should dress the part. Over the phone, it's a little bit different game. But like if you're going to a networking event or building your business or doing something, you still need that authenticity that's there. Because then it just flows through. Because if they look at you on Instagram, if they look at you on Facebook, if they look at you on LinkedIn, if they see you on a TikTok video, see you on YouTube, if they see you on whatever the social media is, they get the same Joe, the same Randy.
Exactly.
Now I trust you. Likability, trust. Is this guy consistent? Does he show up every day? Oh, wait a minute. He posts every freaking day. This guy is a committed person, so he's going to be committed to helping me.
Exactly. Boom. That is so spot on. I knew that's where you'd go with it, but wherever you went would be fine. But you and I are so much the same page with that, because I'm at least 90-10 too. You're going to see way more of me a day. I mean, I might not post a product all day. I might not post a product for 2 days, but when I do, I feel that it has more meaning, because now you're going to listen to me, because number one, if you follow me, you maybe tend to like something I might have to say, right? Yep. So you're going to jump on, and if I'm going to talk to you about this product, the chances that you're going to actually listen to it are probably greater, because you're right. So many people get down there and I have this screw and I do, again, back to the start. Who cares? Next, because we're in such a swipe left, I call it, or swipe up society now, that we got nanoseconds for them to care or not care anyway. And you're right. So in parting word, they care about Joe. I want to deal with Joe. Can I trust Joe? Can we develop a relationship? Will I be able to be confident he'll take care of me? Then, as long as the product and the service has to fit,
of course.
But I think that's in today's world, if any of us are selling products that aren't of at least a reasonable quality and a reasonable service and a reasonable price, we're probably going down the wrong road anyway. So let's assume that what we're doing is sensible. Then, because I've always said, and I know it sounds a little weird at times, but out of 8 billion people-ish in the world, there's absolutely, positively nobody that does one thing better than me. I'm world champ at it. That's being me, right?
Yep. 100%.
And that's being Joe. And that's the key thing you're going to get more than anything else that my competitor can't give you. He might give you everything else I have. Everything. Mm-hmm. But he can't give you me, right? And that's the key, I think, that we have to work on. So parting words, Joe, because you've been very kind, and I don't want to keep you longer than we talked, which I already have. But parting words, other than the fact that they can follow your podcast, 150K podcast. They can find you on all the social media platforms. Follow the guy, man, folks. This guy's the real deal. I've followed Joe for a while now, and he's so authentic. And that's what I was going to say, Joe, is you're so authentic that when you jumped on the phone, or when we first jumped on pre-show,
Mhm.
I felt like we had chatted like 1,000 times. It's my buddy Joe back on, right? So, and I like that, and that's important. So, but thank you for being on. Any parting words, my friend?
Just what you said, be authentically you, because that's the best thing. Relationships will always beat algorithms. It's the one thing that you can control: how you respond to people, how you help people, how you show up for people. And at the end of the day, do something that makes you happy, that can help as many people as possible, and you have a full life. And I
Exactly.
appreciate letting me be on, Randy. My socials for my name, if you're looking for that, it's Joe Graham and then Real, REAL at the back, because Joe Graham originally was taken on Instagram. Even though the guy only has 8 followers, they won't let me have. So I got Real. But besides that, I appreciate you, my friend.
Oh, I appreciate you, my friend, very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Joe Graham. Was that good stuff or what? I always, we talk about this all the time. Have such great guests on Building Wins, but you know what? I love going back to the heart of what I do, is being in the world, helping other people get what they want or need. Some people call it sales. But thank you for joining us again today. Thank you, Joe. And remember, we only get one go around, at least here on good old planet Earth. So love what you do what you love, live it, love it, own it, and go make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers, my friends.